In the past 48 hours, Ukraine launched a coordinated strike across Crimea. Drones, missiles, precision hits on ammunition depots, fuel storage, command centers, not a raid, an execution. Months of planning compressed into days designed to accomplish one objective: strangle Russia's grip on the peninsula without a single soldier setting foot on Sevastopol's shores. And for the first time since 2014, it's working. Russia's hold on Crimea is no longer about military dominance. It's about keeping 32,000 troops alive on a peninsula where every supply line is under fire and logistics can break. When Russia annexed Crimea in March 2014, it was nearly cost-free. Ukraine's military was shattered. The West watched, and for 12 years, Crimea sat locked under Russian control, a trophy that seemed untouchable. 2026 is not 2014. Ukraine's military has been rebuilt, rearmed with Western precision systems that didn't exist 2 years ago. HIMARS, advanced drone networks, real-time NATO intelligence fusion, and a doctrine that doesn't require assaulting Crimea's fortified coastline. Instead, isolation, cut supply lines, degrade defenses, let the fortress collapse from within. That doctrine is now working. Here's what shifted. In 2022 and 2023, Ukrainian strikes on Crimea were symbolic, important, but scattered. By 2024, that changed completely. Ukraine stopped hitting random targets. It started hitting systems, ammunition storage, fuel depots, the Kerch Bridge, Russia's primary artery to Crimea. One target, then another, then another. When you hit enough nodes in the same network, the network fails. The data is stark. Over 120 confirmed strikes on Crimean military infrastructure in 2025 and 2026 alone. That's one major strike every 3 days. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Russia's ammunition resupply to Crimea has collapsed by 40%, fuel logistics down 35%, and Russia's offensive capability from Crimea has contracted significantly. But here's the trap Russia walked into. Crimea is a peninsula, 2 supply routes. The Kerch Bridge, now fragile and under constant fire, and sea convoys across the Black Sea. Ukraine's sea drone fleet has made maritime supply lethal. Russia's Black Sea fleet, once dominant, has been degraded by years of strikes. The fleet is now operating at roughly 70% of its pre-2022 strength. You cannot sustain 32,000 troops without reliable logistics. And right now, Russia's logistics are hemorrhaging. The strikes intensified in January 2026. Ukraine hit the Saki air base, Russia's primary forward base in Crimea. Multiple aircraft damaged, ammunition storage destroyed. 2 weeks later, another strike, then another. Not simultaneous, methodical, relentless, each one sending a message: nowhere is safe. And it gets worse. Russia has started moving critical infrastructure away from the coast, away from likely target zones. Longer transport times, slower resupply, degraded response capability. Troops that were rotated regularly now stay in theater longer because transport capacity has contracted. Ukrainian military sources report rising discontent among Russian personnel in Crimea. They are isolated, under constant threat, and increasingly aware that Moscow's support is unreliable. That alone would cripple morale. But this is what really matters. Ukraine has inverted the entire cost-benefit calculation for Russia. In 2014, Russia took Crimea for free. Ukraine couldn't respond. The West didn't intervene. Crimea was a geopolitical win with zero price. In 2026, holding Crimea is expensive. It requires constant resupply missions under fire. It requires a garrison that's growing more isolated by the week. It requires naval and air assets Russia can no longer spare. Moscow now faces a calculation it never imagined. Is Crimea worth what it costs to keep it? This is no longer about tactics. This is about the architecture of Russian power in the Black Sea. For 12 years, Crimea was leverage, Russia's guarantee of naval dominance and its southern shield. But leverage only works if you can hold it, and holding it requires sustainable logistics. Russia doesn't have that anymore. Ukraine has flipped the equation. It doesn't need to retake Crimea by assault. It needs to make Crimea unsustainable. Every strike, every degraded supply line, every isolated garrison moves Russia closer to a point where the garrison itself becomes a liability. The West has an opening. For the first time since annexation, Crimea's future is uncertain. Russia is losing leverage in the Black Sea. Ukraine is gaining it. The question isn't whether Ukraine can retake Crimea anymore. The question is whether Russia can afford to keep it. Moscow faces a choice it never planned for. reinforce Crimea and burn resources it doesn't have, or begin calculating withdrawal as a strategic option. That decision, the one Russia makes in the next 12 months, will determine who controls the Black Sea in 2027, and the answer will reshape NATO's entire eastern flank. This is one chapter in a much larger story about modern warfare, not about who has the biggest fleet or the most troops, about who can sustain pressure when supply lines break, about who can turn an enemy's strength into an enemy's weakness. If you want to understand how Ukraine is winning the battles most people don't see, subscribe. We're breaking down the strategies reshaping Eastern Europe in real time.